Welcome to the Asking Why podcast. Our goal is to get to the root issues of systemic problems using a theological and psychological lens. We hope you enjoy. Great conversations don't happen by accident. They're made possible by organizations that believe people deserve hope, healing, and access to resources that change lives. We're grateful for our premier sponsors, Wellness by Dr. Natalia and Uprising Addiction Center. Wellness by Dr. Natalia provides a personalized approach to healthcare through concierge and integrative medicine, helping patients take a proactive approach to their health and well-being. Uprising Addiction Center is committed to helping individuals and families break free from addiction through compassionate, evidence-based care and support. Their team is dedicated to helping people find hope, healing, and a path forward towards lasting recovery. To learn more about our sponsors and the service they provide, click the links below. And now let's get to today's conversation. Welcome to the Asking Why podcast. I'm your host, Clint Davis, and today I'm joined by Colvin Roberson, a lifelong Shreveport resident, entrepreneur, and founder of the Shreveport Card Show, which I got to be at last year, which was awesome. One of the largest sports cards events in the Ark-La-Tex. After 26 years at the Caddo Parish Clerk of Court, Colvin took a leap of faith to pursue his passion for sports cards, media, and community building full time. He is also the host of the Off Center with Colvin Roberson on AM 1130, The Tiger. Welcome, man. Glad to have you.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Dude, we got to meet, I guess last year when you did the card show and had Dustin Poirier in. And
Yeah. That was January of this year.
This year, yeah.
It feels like forever ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Because so much has happened since. But, yeah, the January show at the convention center.
Yeah, so tell me about, I grew up, the reason I wanted to be involved in it, you and I have talked about this, with all the things that everybody's kind of doing online, kids, TikTok, Snapchat, all these things. Sports cards, sports memorabilia. I think even like GeekCon, all that kind of stuff. I'm always really excited about kids getting to do because it's just such a fun, cool culture. So tell me how you got into that. Why has that become the passion that you're currently,
It's a long story. Thankfully, we have a little time.
That's a fun podcast.
When I was in first grade at Evangel Christian Academy, I talked too much, which it's kind of ironic at this point. But I talked too much, and my parents were like, we got to do something. Love sports. And they were like, why don't we offer him some baseball cards, see if he'll stop talking so much. And it worked, but that turned into a card shop when I was 8. My parents opened a card shop at the Greenwood Flea Market, and we had that for 4 years.
Okay.
It's called Aunt Sam Sports Cards. So I've literally been doing this
your whole
almost my whole life.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so it's one of those things, man, that you just I enjoyed it so much because I had a relationship with my parents and my mom. I'm going to get emotional talking about this. The first time I talked about it on the radio, I got emotional. I'm going to talk about it now. It was kind of my mom's thing, our thing. It's kind of what we did. We opened up packs. We'd go to Walmart. We'd buy packs. We'd sit in the car, open them up. She loved sports and sports cards just as much as I did. And so we went through all that. She got sick when I was in college. Went to LSUS, Bipsy and LSUS. She got sick, had kidney cancer, went through that with her. She was on dialysis. She was on dialysis, felt like for 12, 15 years. Through all of that, through, growing up, being an adult, you kind of move away from sports cards for a second, but you still hold that. And that was something that we always had. She passed away in 2020 during COVID. She got COVID. She was sick. She had a weak immune system. It was just tough for her,
Yeah.
So she passed away in 2020.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Appreciate it. It's an unfortunate part of what we do. We live life and we push and we do all the things, but there's things we can't control, And so you adapt and you control it as best you can. And so as a tribute to her, I was like, man, there's card shows in Longview. There's card shows in Dallas. We can do one at Shreveport. We used to have them. We stopped doing them. So let's have them again. And so about a year to the day, we had a show, our first show, at the Hilton downtown. We were in a little banquet room, 35 tables. Couldn't fit any more people in there. People showed up, and it was a sellout. We had, you couldn't move. There were so many people. I was like, maybe we got something here. So that was October 21. That day, I met Bill Hardy, who owns Acro Sports.
Okay.
He said, man, I got a venue for you, and you can get more than 35 people. So we've been there ever since. The best part of what I do when it comes to card shows is seeing a dad or mom walk in with their kid, and they get to watch their kid have the excitement of finding the card that they want, be it Pokemon or sports cards, be it their favorite player or their favorite Pokemon, they have that experience of seeing their kids so excited about something that doesn't cost anything. The kids get in free. So getting more and having more things for kids to do, families to do, that's one of the main reasons why I do the show. And so it's grown, and I am a strong believer that if you do things for the right reason, everything else is going to work out. You don't do it for money. You don't do it for anything else. You just do it for the right reasons. You try and get kids in. Kids get in free to my show. If you wear a jersey, you get in free. If you're military, you get in free. And so first responders, everybody can get in free. If not, it's $2, right? I'm not trying to make money. I just want people to come hang out. And that's always my thing. Everything I post, I'm like, just come hang out, because it's a good hang, it's a good time, and it's a family event, and it gets kids involved in something that gets them off their video game, gets them out of their phone, and they can just walk around and find what they like. The dad that did it when he was a kid appreciates it, understands it, maybe gets back into it, and they can see their kid. And you interact with people. It's a good way to kind of teach you how to talk to people, really. Yeah. And so it's been one of those things. I started it when I was, 5-6 years old, and here I am 45 years old. And, we just had a show at the convention center. It was 290 vendor tables. So it's grown, and things have grown since. And so if you do things for the right reason, things work out.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, when we were talking, I think, getting to come and do that, it brought me back to, just childhood as well. I grew up in the 80s and Michael Jordan cards, and, and I still have, 700 Michael Jordan cards and, a bunch of other things. And, that was just so much fun. You'd get together with your friends. They'd come over. Everybody bring their little flip pack. You'd go through. You'd trade. Somebody had a value of this. You'd trade 5 of these cards for this, or have a particular refractor that you wanted to get, and you're like, oh, man, how can I get that? And I was in Pineville, so it was Major League Cards and Comics, and I'd go in there and look at comic books. A bunch of guys would have I think it was Warhammer stuff out. They're measuring with just that whole culture for me was always so fun and felt so innocent, and I love that you're bringing that back and doing that for families, because it is such a connective thing that's kind of generational.
Right, for sure, and it's the best part of what I do. I'll set up at these shows, and my wife will always stop giving away cards, but kid will walk up and he seems really engaged in what he's doing. He's got his cards, or he's got his little briefcase, and he's got his money. This is his deal. Yeah. His parents are just driving him there.
That's right.
And so I'm always like, okay, who's your favorite player? And it's always going to be somebody that you have 700 of. If you like Joe Burrow, Drew Brees, whoever it is, I'm like, all right, well, here's a Joe Burrow card. And you just give them that, because it gives you a relationship with the parents, because you just gave their kid a card. But it makes that kid remember, I can come to this type of place, and there's somebody that, Big Ugly over here is just giving out cards. It's just to keep the culture going, keep the hobby going, and that's what this is all about. This is all about connecting to your memories that you had when you were a kid, and then making memories with your kids now. It's the best part of this. It really is.
What have you seen, as far as cultural, people around Shreveport Bossier, what have you seen kind of growing the last 4 or 5 years since you've been doing this?
Well, the hobby itself is growing exponentially. Okay. The money that's being spent on the hobby, $680 million was spent in the month of May on sports cards.
Wow.
So, and that's numbers, you can look it up. That's $8 billion a year. On sports cards. That's not even talking about Pokemon. Right. And so since 2021, when we had our show, now there's a shop in Bossier. There's a shop in Shreveport. There is a TCG shop, Gamers XP, on Shreveport Barksdale. That's massive.
Dude, they moved that over, and it's awesome now.
They started out at Pines Road, a little bitty spot, and they just bump in here. They go here. Now they're in a huge 4,000 square foot spot. It's great to see. Yeah. And so the hobby itself is growing. There's a radio show now that talks about it every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell me about that, man. Tell me about how this started and what you got going on with.
So this is one of those things. This is a true example of if you do things for the right way, and you follow your heart towards something, and you trust that you have faith that things are going to work out. They do, right? So I worked at the Caddo Parish Clerk's office for 26 years, 18 years full-time. Did the same job every single day. My job was to file paperwork that someone would bring me. Nothing that I filed was a happy thing.
Yeah.
I filed divorces. I filed protective orders. I filed successions, car wrecks, all these things. So if you're having a bad day, I probably was dealing with you. I was dealing with your bad day. And so that weighs on you after 18 years of dealing with that. But that also gave me something that I could have never received, I don't think, anywhere else. And it gave me the opportunity to talk with everybody on their worst day. And if you came in on your worst day and I'm sitting here, I got to make your day better somehow. So you're able to adjust your conversation with the people that you're talking to just based off of how they are, how they're feeling. Mm-hmm. And so it gave me the ability to basically talk to anybody about anything. So I do that, but like I said, it weighed heavily on me. And I do the card shows, and they're doing well. And I was just like, man, I gotta start making myself some money. I gotta start doing things for me. I'm 45 years old. I'm an old man, right? And so I told my wife, my 3 kids, my 2 dogs, I was like, look, trust me. We're gonna make this work. And so the plan was quit the 26-year job, do card shows full time, do eBay, do whatnot, and we'll make it work. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks after that, Tim Fletcher said, hey, let's go to lunch, and I need to talk to you about something. So we go to lunch. I make him go eat sushi, which he doesn't eat. And we sat there for an hour and a half.
For those who don't know who Tim Fletcher is, can you speak to him?
Yeah, Tim Fletcher is the guy when it comes to sports in the area. He worked at Channel 3 as the sports director and the sports anchor for probably 15 years. He quit his job because he felt like he needed to do something different. He didn't love the way things were going, and so he jumped out and he started doing radio, and he's been doing radio for about 15 years. He has a morning show that runs from 6 to 10 o'clock on 11:30 The Tiger every single day. And he's just pushing that. That's what he does. So Tim Fletcher says, let's go to lunch. So we go to lunch, we talk, and my big thing is give me 5 minutes. If I talk to you for 5 minutes and I haven't convinced you that you need to keep talking to me, I appreciate your time. Well, an hour and a half later, he's like, here's what I think we need to do. I think you need a radio show to talk about this full time. And so that's what I have now, is I have an hour every day from 4 to 5 o'clock on 11:30 The Tiger to talk about the hobby, talk about what I do, talk to people who do what I do. We're on episode 37, I think, today. We've been going for about a month and a half. I love it. It's 1 hour a day to talk about what I do.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that just, I didn't have that whenever I left the clerk's office. But I had the faith that if you do things for the right reason, everything else is going to somehow work out. Mm-hmm. And then I'm handed an hour radio show, which gives me a voice a lot further than I'm used to. I'm a Shreveport Bossier guy. Well, now I can reach Longview, I can reach South Arkansas, I can reach Monroe, Natchitoches. Mm-hmm. They can hear me. And then, it's up to me to push it. Well, if you tell me go, nothing's going to stop me from doing what I want to do but me. This is your biggest your biggest hurdle is getting past your brain. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to push and push and push, and this is what we're doing now. So that's what we're doing. We have every single day it's on the app. We have Facebook Live. I did TikTok yesterday, so we're just pushing it.
Progressing,
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's really going to open the door, especially for you to, instead of having to just send out, flyers or whatever, like people start listening to it, they enjoy it, they start getting nostalgia about their own stuff. Sure. They hear, oh, this event's coming up. There's so much of a ball that can roll on that.
Yeah, and that's the plan. I mean, I'm gonna push everything that I think needs to be pushed. I have a lot of people in this industry that I've had on to come talk with me. Like I said, we're at episode 37. This is our first week where we're not having any guests, because I've had a guest, just constantly. It seems like some people that are in the hobby that I feel like I needed to give back to them because they've given me something. Mm-hmm. Trace from Gamers XP, he's been on there. Him or Chance has been on there every Wednesday, so they'll be on there today. Yeah. Talking about something, and it's just a good hang. It's a fun hangout, and you can talk about, you can listen to me talk about whatever's going on in the hobby, telling you how crazy this card is or who this person is that you might need to look at, because I'm trying to guide people as best I can. Mm-hmm. to make sound decisions when it comes to spending money on sports cards.
Yeah, I was listening to it last week a little bit and just kind of hearing how you were like, yeah, this is what's hot here, this is what's coming on here, and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Well, I'm trying to, because we've all done things that we wish, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have got rid of that card, or I wish I would have bought this card, or I shouldn't have bought this many of this person. If you just diversify things and you spend your money wisely, and you don't, spend $700 on a pack of cards, but you spend $700 on 10 cards that can do the same thing. There's just different ways around this, and explaining some of the vocabulary that people don't know, and just trying to help. I mean, that's what I'm here for, really. Yeah,
I think it's really cool. I was thinking just now as you're talking, like, so many people invest in things, and, they put their money in, a 5% yield for however many years. They put their money in stock, or they put, but most of that stuff's not relational.
Right.
I think the beauty of this is, you can, if you know how to do it and somebody is helping you, like you could actually really help, help people build wealth and build some retirement, and but not just for the money's sake, but because it's also relational in the dynamic in which it goes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Your 700 cards of Michael Jordan that you mentioned, that lit a fire under my brain whenever you said that. I was like, you're sitting on something, because Michael Jordan cards they're only going to go up, And it's the one thing that Greg Adams, that runs the boards for me for my radio show, we've talked about this a lot. It's the rule of 25. Basically, if you loved this player when you were a kid, and now you have adult money, you still love that player.
Mm-hmm.
So you find who those players are, and you kind of your Ken Griffey Juniors, your Michael Jordans, your Frank Thomas, those guys that Chipper Jones, all the players that people loved around here, especially. Well, you pick up some of those, and you have those at the next show, or you have those, and you just hold on to those, because everybody that's our age, you're much older than me, I'm sure, but
no, I'm 43.
Yeah, no, I got you on that one. 45, but everybody that's at our age, we had favorites when we were a kid. So if you can scratch that itch, that nostalgia itch, well, that's something that you can make some money on if you're smart with it, And there's plenty of ways that they've come up with for you to lose your money. I'm just trying to make it to where you don't lose your money. I'm trying to help as many people as I can be wise when it comes to investing in whatever it is. And you can absolutely invest and make a lot of money doing this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, what a better thing to do with your family and your friends than so many other options that are out there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you come hang out with us. I mean, our next show is August 1st and 2nd at Acro Sports. I like Acro Sports because a lot of people go there for baseball training, or they go there for gymnastics training. And so the venue that we're in is a baseball training facility. It's 12,000 square feet, has a grass floor, and we just put 120 tables in there, and we hang out. And it's a 2-day show. Costs $2 to get in.
Mm-hmm. You
get in for free. Any military, fire, police, get in for free. Dust off your old jersey, bring it in, free. Kids free. And it's a family event.
It's a great time, man. I mean, I really enjoyed January, and just kind of, we had a table and, got to meet Dustin and all that. But, I always love going somewhere where people are like, hey, what's up? How's it going? I mean, I didn't have a Dustin Poirier card, and I went over to a table and I was going to buy one, and the guy was like, here, just which one do you like?
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh, I like this one. He's like, just take it.
Yep.
And so I just was like, all right. And then, you hooked me up with some gloves that I got signed. And, so that stuff to me is always exciting. As a Christian, I'm always also looking for things that people can plug into that bring more community,
mm-hmm.
that isn't isolating, that allows them to serve other people and find a space where they have some identity. And like anything, you can idolize things and worship things. But I really do think that this is an area in which, man, for Shreveport and Bossier, if you're going, man, I really want to be able to bring my kids to something and be involved in something, this is something that still has some pretty good purity still in it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's something that we try. I mean,
there's not a bunch of nonsense either. That's what I mean. It really is family friendly. Some things even GeekCon,
mm-hmm.
They say it's family friendly, and sometimes they have it, but then there's some questionable things where I'm like, I don't necessarily want to bring my 10-year-old.
I'd rather they didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I try and push for. With my vendors, I mean, I'm responsible for filling the 120 tables. That's my job. My job is to fill the 120 tables and then get as many people as I can to come to the show. And so you have vendors that you love to have, and you have vendors that, and you figure that out. How do we make this as best we can? And my main thing is to please have fun. that we're all here selling baseball cards or Pokemon cards. There's no reason to get mad about things. There's no reason to get too high or too low. And so, knock on wood, we're about 15 shows in. We've never had an issue. If we do have an issue, I usually just have to stand up, and the issue goes away.
You're not a very small guy.
No, but I mean, it's a family. It's 100% a family event, and it's 100% something that I hope we can bring families together. I have so many friends that have brought their son or daughter in, and they're like, man, this is great.
Yeah.
Because, you can literally drop your kid off if you want to. Give them, $20, $40, and they'll be there for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody there, like your guy, whoever, you're not a kid, but he gave you a Dustin Poirier card.
That's right.
Because we're all about pushing the hobby, pushing the community of sports cards, TCG. There's so much that's involved in this, and you can find, son or daughter, really. I talk a lot about sons and everything, but you find a Pokemon card that's got a cute little person on there, your girl's gonna like that, And so there's so much to do. There's so much that people can, you can just witness your kid lighten up whenever he pulls this card or finds his favorite player, and that family, that's the best part. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. And so many people have history in sports with going to a game with their dad, or opening cards with their parents, or Christmas event or a moment. And as a clinician, there's so many people who their attachment is to those memories and those moments, and it brings good thing. And I think that's helpful. I think we, that nostalgia and that ability to go, oh man, remember this, and let's do this with our kids, and now let's go watch them pitch. Like I remember getting to watch a Braves game, and I think it was the Braves and the Red Sox maybe, and it was who are the two pitchers? Smoltz, and
Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux. Yeah. They were both pitching the same time.
Can't beat that.
And it was incredible.
You can't beat that. And that's what it's all about. It's all about, because sports, and especially baseball. I'm a baseball guy. I love football, I love basketball, whatever, but baseball is just something about it, man.
Americans' pastime.
Yeah, it's Americans' pastime, exactly. And we had the captains here, and I remember vividly sitting in the beer garden at the captains' games behind the bullpen, and just sitting there and talking to the baseball. These are professional baseball players, but they're just guys hanging out, And that's what it is. It's just a good hang. You can come hang out. It's a family event, but it scratches that itch for things. And we need more of that in Shreveport Bossier.
We do.
We really do.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people. That's why I wanted to have you on, man. Just encouraged by meeting you and your personality and temperament and just your passion for making Shreveport and Bossier better.
Yeah.
That is so important to me. And it's when it's your natural kind of flow, it doesn't seem like that rare. It's like, why wouldn't you do this? Mm-hmm. But so many people are trying to get over and make money, profit off of everything they're doing. And so the challenge I would put out for everybody that's listening is, man, just like Colvin has done, whatever your passion is, like you said, if you do it for the right reasons, for me, it would be like honoring God and glorifying Him. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that I'm not just doing things selfishly for myself. I'm actually looking for the greater good of those around me and trying to bring people together. And there's so much divisiveness in this world, and there's so much othering of people and cultures, and even sports cards or nerdy things that you might not like, or Dungeons and Dragons, or, it's like, a lot of those same people grew up being othered, being the nerds, being the geeks. And I love that we're in a culture now where, being a nerd or being a geek is kind of normal or popular.
Yeah, it's actually, you're able to nerd out right now, and it's not seen. It's like, look at this nerd over here.
That's right.
Like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That's right. And
I think it's one of those things, I grew up the fat kid, right? Can't do anything about it, just the way it is, right? So I've always had that, I'm just going to do my baseball cards and love it, and it kind of is what it is. And I'm an only child. I just kind of hang out with my cool stuff, and I think it's cool. I don't really care if you don't think it's cool. I do.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I love about the show, and any show, I do 6 shows a year in Dallas at 700 tables over there. All right, so you have thousands of people wandering around with their briefcases full of baseball cards, and there's not a single person in there that's like, look at that nerd.
Right.
They're like, what's in your briefcase? I want to see too.
Yeah.
And that's what this is
that.
about. Yeah, that's what it's about. I don't care. Just like GeekCon. I set up a GeekCon, and you're going to see some things at GeekCon, but they're able to nerd out.
Yeah, that's right.
And so to give people the opportunity to bring their briefcases, bring their baseball cards, find like-minded people that love the same thing, in the town they live in, you have more of those things than you have a GeekCon. I mean, and you have a Gamers XP that opens and is absolutely blowing up.
Yeah, crushing it.
You know, and you're able to have those things, and it's less divisive. The problem that Shreveport has, and I mean, how much time we got, but really the main problem I think that Shreveport has, the perception of the people that live here, that there's nothing to do, and that this is the worst place to live. Go live somewhere else and then come back. Shreveport's not that bad.
Yep.
You know, there's plenty of things to do. There's always something to do. Just, you know, get out of your head. Go do something. You know?
It's definitely like a, you know, people speak it into existence kind of thing where they naysay Shreveport and Bossier so much. And it's like, man, I've lived in California. I've lived in L.A. Like, I can tell you there's the same things to do there. That there's a beach, you know.
Sure.
But you go there, you got to deal with people. You got to deal with drama. You got to deal with traffic. You got to deal with money. You got to deal with poverty and crime and all the same things you have to deal with here. I just truly, like, as a counselor, knowing so many people and working with so many people, you know, there's just amazing people here that are really, I feel like we're on this this trajectory of you and I, like-minded people like us. I just had a guy who owns Maryland's Place on, and
Bob.
Yeah, Bob, and multiple, you know, people in our community that are doing great things. It's like I want more people to know that and talk about that because, man, it's amazing. You know, Leighton and them share this podcast room, and they have the same kind of grind with Busy Smalls of just talking about small businesses. And so I love that there's this movement right now of all of us going, hey, let's just come together. Let's just have conversations. Let's encourage each other. And that way, when I run into somebody, I can say, no, bring your kid to the card show. Like, go listen to this. Like, you know, go over here and check out Gamers XP. Hey, they've got this LARP thing going on. Hey, they've got, you know, GeekCon's coming in. Like, who's your kid's favorite comic book character? Like, bring them there and walk around and engage with them, especially for dads, man. I mean, there's such an, I mean, all parents, but there's such a lack of dads connecting with their kids in our childhood. You know, now baseball cards might have done that, sports might have done that, but then, you know, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of things. And today it's like, we got to teach men, man, engage with your kids, find out what they like, spend time with them, show up for it, act excited about it. And I think, you know, sports cards make that much easier. I mean, comic books, gaming, you know, all of us as dads are big kids inside. And so there's all the stress of work, all the expectations, all the, you know, serious things we're dealing with, get into, you know, read a comic book, play a game, you know, deal with sports. It really does go, okay, there's some childlikeness to this. And Scripture says that we should have childlike faith, that we should see God as a good father who loves us and who isn't trying to just smash us and hurt us. And I think when we do events like this and when we come together as a community, we're modeling that for people and going, hey, it doesn't have to be all of this toxicity.
Yeah. It's hard for, as a father, as somebody who's responsible for making money and doing these things, it's hard for the stress of life to not overtake the childlike mentality that can be had if you just break free from the craziness for a second, you know. And that's what we're trying to give. That's what I try and talk about every day. I mean, if you're hanging out and you're going through, man, this day is heavy. 4 o'clock, I'm going to talk about baseball cards. I'm going to talk about Pokemon. You know what I mean? You can spend that last hour before you head to the house and not deal with, but tackle whatever your family did for that day. You know, you can escape for a second, hang out with us. Maybe it puts you in a mentality to where you go home and you're like, man, that was a lot of fun collecting those cards. What does my kid like to do? Oh, you like Pokemon? Cool. You like D&D? Cool. We can figure that out. We can find that thing, you know? And if you have that connection with your kid, that's one of those things you don't even realize it's what it's giving you. You know, but it scratches that itch, man, and you think about what it was like when you were a kid. You're smiling and you don't even realize it because your kid's excited about something that you kind of understand. There's so many of those things in Shreveport. You know, I was talking to a guy the other day and I said, man, where do we go? Where can we get all these like-minded people together where we can say, look, all of us want Shreveport to succeed. If Maryland succeeds, that's great. If Clint Davis succeeds, that's great. If Shreveport Card Show succeeds, that's great. But Shreveport, if it doesn't succeed, we don't have any of these things. You know, and if there's not people around Shreveport that are like, you know what, let's go do this tonight. let's go eat here tonight by a restaurant that's owned by Shreveport people or started by Shreveport people. Let's go to, Robinson. Let's go. There's so many different things to do.
Yeah.
And I think, man, there's a lot of divisiveness. There's a lot of, this or that race or whatever it is, man. We're all just people. We're all created by the same person. We're all just out here trying to get by. Why not be positive about getting by?
Yeah, I agree.
And having a positive mindset, it might seem easier said than done, but I'd much rather wake up and think, man, let's go do something fun today. Instead of like, what are we going to do today? Mm-hmm. It's just a mindset.
It is, man. I tell people all the time, when you say I have to do this versus I get to do this, changes a big difference.
You woke up today, bro.
Yeah.
You're responsible for your bag of bones. Go do something cool with it. Don't sit back and just be like, meh, Shreveport sucks. No, It doesn't.
Yeah.
If you want it to, it will.
Yeah.
If you allow it to, but you just have to push through that stuff, man. And I know it's easier said than done. Believe me, we've all been in a tough spot mentally.
Yeah.
But push through that.
Yeah.
And find the good.
That's right.
Because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, and if you need help, there's people to connect with at card shows. There's people to connect with in counseling. Like, people think, I love the shirts that everybody has nowadays where it's like, whatever is my therapy.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, but go to therapy.
Yeah, and see, that's one thing we need to talk. I don't do therapy. Never have.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be great for everybody to do. My wife, she's started doing it and she loves it. And it's one of those things. Sometimes you got to get out of your own head. And the best way to get out of your own head is talk about what's going on. A lot of people don't want to talk about what's in their head because they get judged.
That's right.
Well, you're not going to judge them.
No.
And it's finding the right person that you trust that isn't going to judge you, that actually wants to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
But one of those things, and you said this earlier about, basically with a childlike mindset, the reason why you want to do that is because they haven't been jaded by life yet.
That's right.
And so while we've all been jaded by all these terrible, terrible things that we've witnessed and been through, we're still here. We're still given the gift of every day.
Yeah.
And so take the day that you're given, do as much as you can with that day because nobody's going to stop you but you. And that's one of those things that it's easy to say, but if you actually allow that to get into your brain, man, it feels good. It really does.
Yeah, it's not, no doubt, what you marinate in, what you take in, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with. I mean, it permeates your brain, your mind, your body. And I was just in a session this morning saying the same thing. Like of course we all have trauma. Of course all of us have experienced things that God didn't want for us to experience, that weren't fair for us, that are not our faults. And yet every day that we get up, we have the opportunity to choose, what we have control over. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that we have control over is like how much sleep we got the night before. Have we drank any water? Like, what are we reading? What are we listening to? And then what do we do with our body? Do we get up? Do we stretch? Do we go for a walk? Do we take care of ourselves? And what I find so many times is that it's kind of a cyclical thing because, the belief system that a person has who's self-destructing and treating themselves poorly, they won't treat themselves well because they don't love themselves very much. Right. They don't like themselves very much. And so people go, well, do I fake it until I make it? And on some level, there is a sense of, hey, I have to act who I want to be, and then I'll start to feel it. Mm-hmm. I can't always feel it and then act. Nope. And so, that doesn't mean like your feelings don't matter. What it means is that if you just intellectually ascend to something and go, okay, yes, I hear you and I think that way, that's not enough. Mm-hmm. You have to practice the thing. Right. And every day you're going to get up and go, man, I don't really feel enough. I don't feel loved. Maybe I don't see that in my life. And yet when you walk into a room full of people who are all laughing and smiling and they have this kind of shared likeness and everybody's being inclusive and including you and laughing, and you go table to table and you're able to like connect, and then what happens? Somebody's like, hey man, I know so-and-so that or hey, I work with Colvin, or yeah, Colvin said you were a good dude, and then all of a sudden now I see you out at Fat Calf, or I see you at Torchy's, or I go by at Gamers XP and I'm like, oh, I saw you at the card show. Right. There becomes this like communal thing where you realize Shreveport, whatever city you're in, but Shreveport is not just the bones and the structure of Shreveport. It's the people. Mm-hmm. A city is not a city unless there's human beings in it.
Right.
And man, there's so many awesome people here who are trying to do good things and trying to, to practice, healthy living.
Yeah. And it's a mindset, and like you said, you wake up every day, you're given that day. If you want to allow the negative to take over, it will, and we see that, and it's unfortunate. But, kudos to you for stepping out and being like, look, let's talk about it, mm-hmm. And man, I might not look like the person that you want to go talk to, but I would talk to anybody if they're in a spot.
Yeah.
Especially if they do what I do, if there's something that I can talk to them about, like it's one of those things that, and I've talked to people before that were in tough spots. It's just it's going to be okay, but you have to tell yourself and believe that it's going to be okay, mm-hmm. Because nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but you're going to wake up, you're going to get some sleep, you're going to wake up. And if you take care of your brain and your body, the heaviest thing we got's sitting in our big old noggin up here, and you just got to push through that stuff. And you got to tell yourself, there's a reason why I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. If I'm doing this and I don't love doing it, maybe I should find what I do love doing.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. Like I did 26 years. I feel like I was in the clink for 26 years, but I put in my time helping as many people as I could. And I felt like I helped a lot of people there.
That's awesome. Well, you all, people who know you, and me just meeting you a few times, like you just have such a warm, engaging, caring presence. And after hearing your story a little bit, it just shows me, going through those things with your mother, it's like love is bittersweet, man. Like you got this quality relationship times, y'all connected over cards. You have all these memories that are attached to your sense of identity that you mattered to her in this deep relationship. And yet, right, there's the pain of loss that comes with that. And instead of allowing that to create victim mentality in you, it's obvious that you have taken that suffering, and I think the Lord has worked in that in you, and you're able to work through working at the Caddo court and seeing all this pain. By God's grace, I think you're speaking light and life into people instead of just contributing to the darkness. And so, I love that you do what you do, and I love getting to know you, man, and all that you're doing for our community. And so be encouraged that you're doing that, and you are bringing light to our community and with good things. And that's super needed, as we've talked about, ad nauseum. Like, it's super needed in our community for more positivity, more kindness, more things you can bring your family to, and things that bring us back, a little bit. Everybody's wanting to run away with AI and everything crazy. And it's like, man, there are things that we've always done. Yes, there's a lot of things to stop doing that we've done in the past, but there's some tried and true things that are going to last, and I hope people keep plugging into them.
I sure hope so. And we're going to keep having them. We're going to keep having the conversation of, like what can we do today to make tomorrow better? And I think having a conversation every day for an hour talking about stuff that you can relate to, if you love sports, you're going to be able to follow the show. Yeah. If you love cards and you remember that for whatever reason, like with me, my dad was, he just kind of let us do our thing. He knew that was something that she loved, and it was something that I loved to do. And so my dad, Ernie Roberson, he was a registrar voter for 25 years. He's hanging out with us, and he understands what I'm doing, and imagine telling your dad that worked in government, I'm going to leave my job of 26 years, promise this is going to work out.
Yeah.
And then you keep pushing and you keep pushing. And that's what I tell anybody that loves something, but they feel like they can't do it because of this, because of that. If you have faith that you can do it and do it the right way, go for it.
It's great, man. I've said this countless times on the podcast, but also to clients all the time, man. If you're, obviously we want to be smart. We want to ask the right people. We want to make sure our spouses are involved and that they're helpful. But so many people are working jobs that they're miserable at, and that are, there may be a season where that's needed and helpful. But we live in 2026 where you can do what you want to do. and you can make choices, and you can, swallow that whole elephant by eating it one bite at a time.
Yep.
But you got to start by taking a bite. And so it's awesome that you've done that, man. Any closing thoughts, comments?
Really, man, I appreciate what you do. I really, and this is one thing I wanted to say up top, but we get talking about baseball cards. I kind of forget what I want to say.
Yeah.
I appreciate your openness to help. That is one of those things that is, people forget about how much you have to endure listening to other people's trauma, and so to have the mental ability to take on their struggles and to still be as positive and as helpful as you are, I appreciate that. That's heavy.
Yeah, man.
But you understand everybody needs to kind of get out of their own head sometimes, and whoever's listening, if you're stuck in your head, man, there's so many people out there that are willing to help. If you come to a Shreveport Card Show and you don't see Clint, but you see this big ugly guy over here right at the front of the thing, come hang out with me.
Yeah.
Because we can sit down, we can talk about something. I promise you, give me 5 minutes, I'll get you out of whatever funk you're in. So will you, and having you at the show in January with Dustin, he needs help getting out of his own head sometimes, and we all need that. We're all human. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much money's in our bank account. We're all going through something.
Yeah, man. We're so judgmental of other people when we see them at their worst, and it's like, man, all of us are capable of that.
100%.
Yeah.
We've all been at our worst, and it's what we're able to do and what people are able to do to help us out of that worst.
Yeah.
And so my closing thing to you, honestly, is, I appreciate the opportunity to talk with people, and I appreciate you letting me push the card show and off center, but people need to talk, and having a healthy conversation about life and about what you're going through is massive.
It is, man.
That's my closing thought, is I appreciate what you do.
Well, thanks, man.
I was watching, an episode this morning, and, it's good to see people out there that recognize that there's a lot to do in Shreveport. There's a lot of good in Shreveport, 192 episodes worth of good, and so we're all just going to keep pushing and LIVIN, baby, just
right.
go, and it's going to be okay.
Yep.
Everything's fine. Just push through it.
That's good, man. Well, I appreciate you. And like I said, anything I can do for you in Shreveport, I love that we're connected now and can text each other and encourage each other. And we'll just keep doing it, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We'll put all this stuff in the show notes. If you want to listen to Colvin, it's 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. at 11:30 The Tiger. And you can find him. We'll put your website and Facebook and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's ShreveportCardShow.com. But really, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on all of them. I'm just trying to push Shreveport as much as I possibly can through whatever avenue they're giving me, and I'm fortunate enough that I have this, and I'm able to do the shows and just hang out with people and try and make Shreveport. It's a Shreveport Card Show. That's why we call it what it is. We're just trying to push it.
Yeah. Let me pray for you.
Yes, sir.
God, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for Colvin. Thank you for all he's doing in our community, God. We just pray for people listening to this, that they can be united with community in their area if they're in Shreveport, God. We pray that you would make connections through relationships primarily, God, and that they would see you. Thank you so much. God bless.